Just give me a second, dudes. I might have to, yeah. I need a moment. One moment. Alrighty, bros. Good morning, y'all. Hope you guys are doing good. Now, there we go. These are regular servers. Another day. How many days we got now? 152 days. We got about 3 months. So we're done good. Okay. Put that in. Okay. Okay. Enable. Submarine battleships. American battleships. We'll do those. That's destroyer. French and Italian battleships. So, okay. But we're done on that one anyway. Yeah, how about what's that? Yeah, potential. One battle received. Okay. Battleships, right? Yeah. Let's go to okay. Yeah, but we ain't for a faster rewards. Okay. American battleships. Okay. 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 Ramming. Okay. My name's Jeff. Okay. Now, my name's Jeff. My name's Jeff. Okay, bros, aggravating her. Let me see. What's up, fucker? My name's Jeff. 20 knot and land it there.
Sighted on the horizon. Autopilot mode disabled.
Yeah.
Spotter airborne.
Here I am, that 20 watt man. Hell no, man, some of these are slower than hell. But it is what it is. We gotta do what we do. Okay, there's a pot shot.
Spotter returning to ship. Torpedoes, direct front. Bullseye.
There you go, ho.
Our team has taken the lead. Torpedoes, dead ahead. Victory is in sight.
A slow ship, man. You got that New York, huh?
Autopilot mode enabled.
play Texas. Now let's go ahead and play West Virginia. The 41. We'll play the Texas, but play 41 first. Okay, let me see here.
Autopilot mode enabled. Battle starts.
Yeah, I'm playing World of Warship, bro. Gone ahead and done my dailies on the main server, and then I'll get on the test server and do those. Try to. There's quite a bit I should be able to get on them.
Enemy force detected.
We're not ready.
Spotter airborne.
I need the buoyant, so I can't really say much. Yeah, I mean, hopefully, anyway.
Enemy submarine spotted.
So, I believe I can.
Enemy cruiser sighted. Enemy destroyer sighted. Awaiting instructions. Enemy severely damaged.
Okay.
Enemy cruiser destroyed. Spotter returning to ship. Enemy cruiser foundered.
That's two. piss. There's that air truck there.
Target penetrated. Enemy aircraft carrier destroyed.
Yeah, one punch that bitch, didn't we? Oh, that stupid ass. And how dumb are you, bro?
Autopilot mode disabled. Spotter airborne. Okay. Huh. Ooh, we got a free patch. Patch these nuts. Okay. 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 4 more, 103 more. I got a free ship out of that of these containers yesterday. Well, I did. I sure did. That's surprising, but I did. A German ship. It wasn't yesterday. It might have been the day before. We got one. Okay. Well, we got another one. We got a T-61 destroyer. Okay. What is it? A Tier 6. Yeah. But I keep getting them German ships. I'm not bitching, man. I mean, that's another free ship. He said that was a German destroyer. Yeah. That's not German, that's Russian. Right here, isn't it? Damn, that's a nice little ship. Equipment. Let's go to throwing some armaments on them. That's basically what we're doing now, is making armaments for ships. I didn't put them on the other one either. Rather. Okay, I normally just do these destroyers, whatever it says. That's a nice little freebie. I mean, they don't know what it is. It just hands me the Germans hands over fist. Heil Hitler, baby. It does, man. I don't get it. That one. Let's see. Secondaries, main battery, AA specials. Real time continuous AA damage. Let's. Don't know. I guess we'll get concealment. That's 4 after that one. Okay. Burger. That's another one there that I've got lately and didn't even know it. I'm hurting for. We're going to rank him up, ain't we? Yeah. Okay. Anywho, let's go back to American battleships. Finish that. Oh, it is right. We'll have this one. It's a 750 Cal, you know. I'm not bitching. Anything's better than nothing. Do not lie about it. Now, let's see here. We can do cruisers. Get that 10K. That's the subs. I ain't got no submarines. I honestly don't. Okay, let me see. We got 12 more of these to fight enabled. It's submarines and battleships. We should be close to our let's do the 44. Okay, now let me see what we got here. Yeah, we're ranking him up for him. Orly Burke's the one went with him, with the West Virginia 44. One of my favorites. That is my favorite. Awfully proud of my state. You can call us whatever you want. We're patriots. Bet on that. That's why they They come to the hills wanting their soldiers. They don't want them pussies out of New York. Walk up and shoot somebody in the fucking back. That's sad crap for dude. I don't know the whole deal about that, but that's very sad that they walked up and shot that man in the back. Still looking for his shooter. All in New York. All in New York. Down 100 Navy SEALs about to march on New York over the way they done old Pete Hegseth.
When it comes to Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth, Republican senators could soon be hearing from some of the men who actually matter. Since President-elect Donald Trump nominated the combat veteran to lead the nation's military, attacks from liberal media organizations have grown even as Hegseth...
We're attacking Pete Hegseth. Don't want him Secretary of Defense.
Fox News will Kane declared Wednesday, some of those who've made military service their lives' work are going to make their voices heard.
No, I'm not liking it to get there outside of Hegseth's Patriot. He's a veteran, decorated war veteran, and the shit they're pulling on him.
Over 100
as bad as they done Clarence Thomas.
Support openly behind Pete Hegseth, Kane said. Then he named
I don't think he should drop. I would rather see Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense as Ron DeSantis.
I would suggest if your name is Jody
not that much for DeSantis.
John Thune, Mitch McConnell, Kevin Kramer. If you're a senator from North Dakota, Iowa, South Carolina, you might want to look out your door. Hegseth's nomination has been controversial from the start since he's a Pentagon outsider. He's probably best known for his 7-year stint as a co-host on Fox and Friends Weekend.
What does it matter what he did?
He's a former officer in the National Guard who served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's what I thought.
Bronze stars. And, of course,
decorated hero.
An outspoken defender of
fucking slandering him the way they are.
An equally outspoken critic of military leadership. For any American who remembers the media circus surrounding the confirmation hearings of now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh,
well, what about what they did to Clarence Thomas?
Like a choreographed
like Clarence Thomas said, that was the high-tech lynching.
Of the country be damned.
And that's what they're doing, the Hegseth.
For liberal media organizations like NBC News,
Hegseth.
Which came out Tuesday with
bullshit,
a report
man.
Based entirely on anonymous sources who claimed Hegseth had a drinking problem. On Sunday, the inveterately liberal New Yorker magazine published a lengthy piece on Hegseth's secret history by writer Jane Mayer, a woman who was behind one of the most disgusting attacks on Kavanaugh. And in response, some Republican senators have shown signs of going wobbly over confirming Hegseth's nomination.
Going asshole, they better confirm him.
Attributed to Bill Brown, Vice President of the Navy SEAL Foundation and a retired SEAL Command Master Chief, is a sign that those senators are going to have to listen to more than anonymously sourced reports from NBC News.
I'm gonna wrap my Senator Manchin. I'm gonna chat with him about Hegseth. You better vote for him.
To the military men and women who matter, and it sounds like those men and women are backing Hegseth to the hilt.
Well, they should. 2-time decorated combat veteran. I think he's exactly what we need in the Pentagon. Old Pete Hegseth served this country, even wanting to do more for it. Fucking Democrats. Democrats are billions of hellions will never come out of. You better keep that in mind. The American people's already disgusted with you, and now your attack on the Patriots is not. Matt Gaetz, I can understand some hesitation with, but look what you got, Bonnie. Yeah, I bet you wish sitting down that when it's over. That lady will bring you to the front, Sonny. Just like a Hegseth will with the military. I'd like to know why the hell that the Democrats are trying to make her kids soft. I think Landon McMahon was a good pick for the Board of Education as well. I truly do. All Trump's picks have been good. What it is, it's like Biden. You know, the Supreme Court's going to take Biden's pardon up. Because no president's ever tried to go that broad with a pardon. So, I feel that they will take it up. It's unprecedented what he's pulling. It was always to my understanding you couldn't pardon someone for a crime that hadn't been committed. So is he going to plead guilty to corruption and bribery for 2014 because these pardons are not going to cut it. So I would think that at the end of the day,
autopilot mode enabled.
Their full weaponization is showing. I mean, really. We're getting more turmoil on a peaceful change of power than we did with J6. I don't want to hear no shit when he pardons them for J6. Pardon his boy, and he's went back over a decade to do it. Still doesn't. Hey, Daddy Dog, what's up, bro? How's your morning, bro? Good morning to you as well, Captain. I was listening to all this turmoil they're doing on Pete Hegseth. I don't like any time they go to down on Patriots, man. No veterans. That's wrong, man. I didn't see those Congress members that downing him or don the uniform and go off to a foreign country and fight. Hegseth did. He deserves all the respect for that. I'm a firm believer in our veterans, and you don't mouth our veterans. They take them to countries, fuck them up, then bring them back here, then think that they should be able to talk about them and stuff. I don't see them serving our country that way. All they done went to Washington, D.C. to get rich. Very sad, dude. Very, very sad that any sitting member of Congress would sit and have any doubt to want to nominate Hegseth or Hegseth. That's sad, boys. Yeah, we can take a couple of torpedoes. I don't think it's gonna kill us. Hope not. It's very sad, dude. Man, go do 2 tours of duty, decorated twice, and CNN comes out with unanimous tips. A headset, and then his co-host that sat right beside of him, nothing but great things to say about the man, and try to drive him to pull his nomination. I would 100 to 1 rather see Hegseth be Secretary of Defense as Ron DeSantis. I've not got nothing against DeSantis personally or anything of the sort. I don't like the way he started out bad-mouthing Trump, but it's a political game, and he was trying to play it. When he seen that Trump was going to be the nominee, he fell in rank and file. But still, there's and had said a few things himself when it's come to President Trump. But at the end of the day, DeSantis served as well. I have all the respect in the world for DeSantis because he served the country. His Navy. Deep down in my heart, my uncle was a Navy pilot. And I feel that this bullshit that they're pulling on the nominees of Trump's is sad, very sad. I would have liked to seen Matt Gaetz got Congress. I really would have, in all honesty. But he didn't get the nomination, and now we got Pam Bondi. She does, more qualified, they say, even even better pick. I mean, Gates has got his slurs, smear campaigns, man. That when he kept attacking the mayor over the shit they was pulling Matt Gaetz did, they come out with this bullshit on him. Typical. Go back and look at what they tried to do to Clarence Thomas in the 90s. That Joe Biden had a hand in on trying to do when Clarence Thomas come out and said that this was the biggest high-tech lynching that he had ever seen. And he got his nomination. Even though they tried to do what they did. Now, I know they call it a political game or whatever. That's the game the American people are tired of. They're tired of the Democrats and their bullshit. These institutions need to file in rank and file and check after their weaponization of the DOJ and the FBI. I think Kash Patel is a good pick for FBI director. Christopher Reeves isn't. And I can't wait to watch Trump fire him. If he's smart, he'll just resign. Listen to this. Mexican president's done asked Trump to deport to their home countries.
Donald Trump to deport non-Mexican migrants directly to their home countries, rather than dumping them at the Mexican border. President Claudia Sheinbaum said she
you can't blame her about that.
Trump so that they send people who come from other countries to their countries of origin. Mexico, like any other country, is not obligated to accept non-Mexican migrants. but it has agreed to do so in the recent past, especially from countries such as Cuba
Well, it's
and
because that they let them
They
cross.
often refuse deportation flights from the United States, but may accept them from
So
Mexico.
you got to realize
Have
that.
said they're already making
But
preparations
that was the
as Trump
cartel.
follows through on his pledge to carry out large-scale deportations of migrants who
Oh,
lack
he
proper
will.
documents once he takes office on January 20th. Mexico is obviously
Let's see,
fearful
we're
of
down to
two
what,
things: large-scale deportations of
30,
Mexican citizens and large numbers of non-Mexicans being
50,
deported at border crossings that
not
are
even 50,
ill-equipped to
about
deal with.
46
Experts
days
estimate there are 4
till
million
Trump will take
Mexicans living
office.
in the U.S. without proper documentation.
So,
Mexico is already preparing its consular services in the U.S. with additional manpower to handle deportation cases involving its own citizens.
I'd
But
like
third
to,
country deported migrants pose a thornier challenge and could include considerable numbers of Haitians, Cubans, and Venezuelans. Between 2022
Venezuelans is going to be their biggest trouble.
Mexico agreed to accept up to 30,000
Well, they brought all those
from
gangs
Cuba,
in.
Haiti, Nicaragua, and
Haiti, that's
countries
another one,
difficult for the
and
U.S. to
Nicaragua.
agree to for diplomatic or political reasons. That agreement is currently in place. In late 2023, Venezuela
Emptied
said
their
Mexico had
prisons, man, and
repatriated
sent them
about
here.
300 Venezuelan migrants on 2 flights. Such returns pose a monetary burden for the Mexican government. Mexico had offered some of the repatriated Venezuelans a stipend of about $110 per month for 6 months to help them reestablish themselves in their home countries. However, the task of finding jobs, shelter, and transportation for deported Mexicans would present an even greater challenge for Mexico. Migration has long been a sensitive issue between the two countries and has become even more urgent following Trump's threat to impose 25% tariffs on Mexican goods unless the country does more to stem the flow of migrants and drugs.
Mexico might as well break over and have a war with the cartels,
Agreed to stop migration through
while the
Mexico,
U.S. is
following
willing
a
to
phone
help
call
them.
between the two leaders. Bomb, meanwhile, suggested Mexico was already doing its part and had no interest in closing its borders. We reiterate that Mexico's position is not to close borders, but to build bridges between governments and between peoples, Sheinbaum said at the time. This story originally appeared in Los Angeles Times.
That's what I'm saying, dudes. First she said she wasn't. Now she's saying she maybe will. She knows Trump's. They're crazy, man. They're going to have to go after the cartel. That's their biggest trouble about the drugs. Then you got China making fentanyl, sending it through trying to kill us. What's up with that, man? I mean, they're doing it. I'm proud they're doing it. So, I mean, do we just let this happen? Hell no, we don't. Hell no, we don't. Do I think Trump's going to send the military to wage war with the cartel? Hell yes, I do. I think he's thrown it out just like Reagan did when he told the president of Iran they would release our embassy or he'd rain hell on them. He held to his word, as will Trump. Now, whether Hamas takes their warning or not, I don't know. But I do think that President Trump will do exactly what he said, because the Middle East is a problem. And their open attacks on Israel, their terrorist attacks, it's no different what they did to the United States with 9/11 with the Taliban. And how can we condone what we did in the countries we invaded to get the Taliban if we cannot help Israel do the same? I'm a firm defender of Israel. We We have to defend Israel. I'm a firm believer that we have to defend Israel. That is a Christian homeland.
Autopilot mode disabled.
And that's just something we have to do, boys. Absolutely, we have to do it. We're gonna get bombarded here. He's gonna ram you, little man.
Problem solved, sir.
Come on.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Get her in the ass and bring them guns around, man.
Ship is on fire.
I'm all loading. Let's give them everything we got. Ooh, yeah.
Enemy battleship destroyed.
Okay.
Enemy battleship sighted.
Ooh, yeah.
Our team has taken the lead. Enemy cruiser sunk.
What are we on? I love Alabama. Good ship. We should be able to line right up on this North Carolina. Okay.
Autopilot mode enabled.
I don't think we can shoot over it. Nope. Yeah, we can't. So let's just try to get over and capture D and get us a little bit there.
Autopilot mode disabled.
We'll try to come in. We should maybe be able to shoot over this. Oh, hell, I'm gonna sink that one. Looking like it. Yeah.
Spotter returning to ship.
Autopilot mode enabled.
So, let's see. I don't think we'll get another shot on that one. Maybe. Because she's not all that slow.
Our victory is in sight.
I mean, you look at how they done headset. That's terrible, man. Headset. Cash Patel. Oh, that's good. He should. Cash Patel threatens to take legal action against MSNBC commanders. Commentator. That's a lot of shit they talking about him, and I don't blame him. You know. Pearl Harbor Day, it is getting about that, December 7th. Tomorrow, I forgot about Pearl Harbor. They normally give everybody to Arizona during that. I'll be right back, bros. Alright, bros. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. I think we've about... Okay. I'll be playing this. I said I'll be playing this. Okay. Yeah, I thought we done got all those. So, we've got, well, we could do more of these, I guess. These naval battles, but, I mean, let's see. 3 of 15 in progress, position in group. 15. We could, we got 4 more attempts. Some of these other guys are on, and playing. I don't think so. Maybe doesn't matter. Now some of these dudes I know I said I wasn't, but God bless, when they're about 2 years, dude, and they haven't did anything. Look here, I went 585 days straight playing almost, which I said I wasn't, and I'm not. I'm gonna leave these guys alone. They're fine like they are, you know. Let's see. Let's put a little bit more equipment on this main. That's $1 million. It's going to cost us here, bros. There's another $1 million, $2 million. And there's $3 million. Let's see. We're going to give it main battery reload. Or yeah, we'll do that. Alrighty. Now that's all that done. Yeah, let's play one battle with it. Why not, you know? I mean, why not? You know? I said there's a travesty of what they're trying to pull, boss. Democrats are in not no position to be saying anything. The country has rejected them. Totally rejected them. They need to take a long look at what they're doing with all that DEI, their woke agendas, their loss of touch with the American people. I mean, it says a lot in volumes. And from the setback, talk about white women, black men, how they've lost their luster to vote for them. The Latin Americans, the Mexicans, all of them. Elvis Wagon. What? Who the hell are you? What the hell? I don't know you. I don't think I know them. This Mavis, whoever they are, I mean, don't think I know them. Not trying to be smart-assed or nothing. I just don't think I know them.
Enemy battleship on the horizon. Enemy carrier will not escape me. Another cruiser for me to destroy.
Don't message me. I'm trying to be an asshole. Yeah, I guess I am. I don't know them.
Torpedoes ahead. You
Don't want to know them. And, yeah, that's like this, bro. Facebook has got to the point. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
something right, you have to do it yourself. How did this happen? The ship is on fire! If you didn't fix it, you'd be thrown out to feed fishes.
Oh crap. 4. Oh crap.
Thanks to me, we're gonna win.
Well, if you say so, bro. Swing my guns around there.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
Okay. Okay. Oh, bro, that's, yeah. It's just to be playing with it, bros. Ain't no way we got enough to, get, where's the, try to get back into something and capture it.
Autopilot enabled.
There it is. It's up the map there. I have no problem in the world deleting people, bro. They're half scammers and crap on Facebook. If they start Hey, did you hear the good news? Yeah, you're blocked. That's the good news, bro. Anything else you want to know?
Come on and get him!
It's, I don't think we can get her. He's just floating on that edge there. Well, he done took A, so what in the hell happened? But be here. Yeah, that's not we went in the hole. We went in the hole, we really did. Like, probably good. No, we made 5,000 to the gut, I guess. Container. Alrighty, bros, we're going to switch over to the test server. So, won't take but a second. We're not going under stream to do it, so. Alright, see, because we've got 9 more. I don't see any other, well, we could do those, but we might later. One batch. What is that? U.S. orange fish. Yeah, we'll go ahead and save it. Okay, bros. Let me see here. Let me turn. Let's exit. There we go. Now, okay. And we'll try to get us some of these community tokens going here, and a few hours of playing this, hopefully we can get some community tokens. Maybe a couple tactical crates and stuff like that. Hopefully. This is the test server. So we'll see what we can and can't do. Okay. Now, let's see what kind of missions we got. There's a crate. That's these new things. 7 missions here. 3 days. On that one battle costs 30,000 hit damage. Let's see what we got here. 1,000. No, 1,600. We can do that in any of them. 12,000 base. Okay, we got 1,300
for this one. 1,000 base. What's this one? 2 hours. Okay, dockyard. Okay, we're on the second leg of it. 500 base. Okay, it's all base XP and credits. Okay, now. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll see what we can do from there. I tell you, bros, that's one of them deals. 16 degrees outside. I didn't think it did impact no interest rates. Fed doesn't come out and say it won't, so they say it won't, it won't. Let's see what now we got going on. Kamala. Something about Kamala resigned. She ain't gonna resign. Biden pardoned Trump. Yeah, I don't think so, bro. Not to lie, I don't think he will. They hate him. Email from see what they've said to
Ian Willis suffered a defeat in a civil case over open records. A Fulton County Superior Court judge ruled that Willis violated the Georgia Open Records Act after she did not provide records relating to special counsel Jack Smith and communications with the U.S. House January 6th committee. The plaintiff, Judicial Watch, sued the DA after not getting those records. In the judgment, the judge ordered that the records be provided within 5 days. A hearing will take place later this month on Judicial Watch's motion for legal fees.
Ms. Kilbeck, if I could just start with you. Let me ask you a question about the First Amendment, if I could. Does the First Amendment apply to the medium of the internet, in your view?
My understanding is that it does, Senator.
Why would that be true, considering that the internet didn't exist in 1791?
Well, Senator, the Supreme Court has adopted a number of different tests for assessing the constitutionality of different provisions. The First Amendment protects speech, of course, and people speak on the internet. But I would adhere to the relevant test if any First Amendment case were to come before me.
Well, I ask you because the Supreme Court has said something much the same in the Second Amendment context. And in the Second Amendment context, you argued to the Supreme Court that because a particular firearm did not exist at the time of that amendment's ratification, that it wasn't covered. The Supreme Court, covered by the right, that is, the Supreme Court rejected your opinion unanimously in a per curiam opinion. That's the Catano case. I've got it right here. You've been asked about it. You know, what's interesting to me about this case is there's a lot of division on the United States Supreme Court about a lot of topics, including the Second Amendment, but they were unanimous in this case. It's a very short order, 2 pages, not even, really, page and a half, in which they rejected your argument completely out of hand. And I just want to ask you, why did you make an argument that the Supreme Court said held no water at all, so much so that they felt the need to address it in a per curiam decision and to remand the case, saying that the arguments that you made were not to be countenanced at all. You didn't get a single vote. So tell me, help me understand, why did you make arguments that the Supreme Court said had previously been made and previously rejected by the same court?
Thank you, Senator. I just would like to clarify at the outset that I did not handle the Catano case when it was before the Supreme Judicial Court. The case was handled by the district attorney rather than the Attorney General's office at that stage. In the Supreme Court, the argument that I made...
Wait a minute, you didn't, the Catano case at the U.S. Supreme Court, you didn't handle it?
I did co-author the brief in opposition to certiorari at the Supreme Court,
okay,
but not the Supreme Judicial Court.
I'm asking you about the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court judgment that rejected your arguments. So you just confirmed, I think, that you made those arguments to the United States Supreme Court. Is that correct?
Respectfully, Senator, the argument in that brief was slightly different. The argument was that a stun gun is, we argued on behalf of the Commonwealth, not an analog to a founding era weapon.
Which the Supreme Court rejected unanimously.
The Supreme Court held that the Supreme Judicial Court had misstated the Heller decision in 3 respects. But again, I didn't handle the case in front of the Supreme Judicial Court.
So your argument is that your position wasn't rejected unanimously by the U.S. Supreme Court?
I certainly acknowledge, Senator, that the Supreme Court summarily reversed the Supreme Judicial Court's decision. I would adhere to the Supreme Court's holding in Catano and reaffirmance of Heller's statements.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. The Supreme Court was very dismissive of your arguments. One of the reasons it was dismissive is it said they've considered these arguments before and rejected them. This is why they then rejected your arguments per curiam unanimously. So I'm trying to understand why someone who has ethical obligations to the court, why you would make arguments that the court has previously rejected, knowing that they previously rejected them. And then here's the other thing that interests me. In this case, the person who had been arrested under this law that the Supreme Court then reversed on was the victim of domestic abuse. And I just want to read a few of the facts here. This is from Justice Thomas and Justice Alito's concurrence in that per curiam judgment. Here's what they say. After a bad altercation, that's from the trial record, with an abusive boyfriend that put her in the hospital, Jamie Catano found herself homeless and in fear of her life. So she obtained multiple restraining orders against her abuser, but they proved futile. So when a friend offered her a stun gun for self-defense against her former boyfriend, she accepted the weapon. And it's a good thing she did. Because one night, after leaving work, Catano found her ex-boyfriend waiting for her outside. He started screaming that she was, this is from the trial record, not gonna effing work at this place anymore because she should be home with the kids they had together. Catano's abuser towered over her by nearly a foot and outweighed her by close to 100 pounds. She stood her ground, displayed the stun gun, and announced, "I'm not going to take this anymore. I don't want to have to use this stun gun on you, but if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to have to." And the gambit worked. The ex-boyfriend got scared, and he left her alone. You think she shouldn't have had the right to self-defense?
Senator, thank you. Again, the district attorney made the decision to bring charges in the Catano case. The Attorney General's office might have been involved in that decision, but I certainly recognize...
But you argued for it to be upheld before the United States Supreme Court.
Senator, the argument in that brief was that the Supreme Court should deny review of the case.
Right,
but
which denied the right of self-defense to this person. I'm asking you why.
Senator, my duty as Assistant Attorney General was to represent the Commonwealth in that case when it came to the Supreme Court, and I did so consistent with my ethical obligations.
Your duty is not to make frivolous arguments in the Supreme Court of the United States. And frankly, I question your judgment in what you did in this case, and I question your judgment in choosing to try and perpetuate what is manifestly an injustice to this abuse, this victim of domestic abuse. I yield the rest of my time.
I'm going to start with Ms. Kovac. I want to ask you about your work on cases involving Second Amendment, specifically about the Catano case. The Supreme Court held in Heller, as you know, that the Second Amendment protects the right to own arms that were, quote, not in existence at the time of the founding. It rejected a claim to the contrary as quote unquote, bordering on the frivolous. But in a few years later, Cateo, you argued that stun guns were too modern so that they were protected. So I'd like to have you explain your thought in regard to that, whether it was consistent with Heller, and at the same time, could you explain why the briefing didn't address the Supreme Court statement that the Second Amendment protected arms that, quote, not in existence at the time of the founding?
Thank you for the question, Ranking Member Grassley. In my capacity as Assistant Attorney General, I was assigned to write or co-author the brief in opposition to certiorari in the Catano case. The initial decision to bring charges was made by the district attorney, and the district attorney handled the case at the trial court level and on appeal in the Supreme Judicial Court. So our role, the Attorney General's office took over representation of the case when the case reached the Supreme Court. Our argument in the brief was simply that the Supreme Court should deny the petition for a writ of certiorari. I certainly understand the Supreme Court summarily reversed the SJC's decision in that case, stating that the SJC's decision was inconsistent with Heller in 3 respects. And I want to affirm, Senator, that in every case I've handled involving the Second Amendment, my arguments have been based on Heller and McDonald, and I would adhere to all of the Supreme Court's precedent on the Second Amendment, including its recent decision in Bruin, if I were so fortunate as to be confirmed.
Thank you.
Let's see, Ms. Kobeck. Let me come to you. I heard your response on the Caetano versus Massachusetts case and your assertion that you would follow Supreme Court precedent when it comes to Second Amendment rights. So tell me what your understanding is of whether the Second Amendment applies only to militias.
Senator, the Supreme Court held in the Heller decision that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to keep and bear arms.
So you would stick with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Why is it constitutionally permissible for the right to keep and bear arms, which the Supreme Court has called a fundamental right, that right to bear arms, but that right is subject to the discretionary issuance of a license by a local official?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I know different jurisdictions have different statutes related to licensing. If a case were to come before me involving a Second Amendment challenge to a licensing statute, I would certainly apply the Supreme Court's precedent, including the methodology clarified by the court in the Bruin decision.
Okay, thank you.
This isn't a question, Judge Gray. I may vote for you anyway, but I'll commit right now in front of God and country to vote for you if you'll move back to Louisiana. Judge Flynn, I've read a number of your writings. I want to, you wrote an article in December of 1998 entitled Person of Faith, Race and Religion as Experiential Knowledge. You wrote it in a journal called Perspective. And this is what you said, I quote, your words, not mine. The problem with the Christian Coalition is not that they are Bible thumpers, parentheses, there are personal beliefs that often result from religious experiences, close parentheses, but that they are bigots.
Bigots, huh?
End of quote. Did I quote that correctly?
I believe you did.
Did you write that?
I did write that when I was 18 years old, or 20 years old, excuse me. I do want to be clear. I do not agree with that today. I wrote that before I went to law school, before I had any kind of
You were a grown woman when you wrote this.
I'm sorry?
You were a grown woman when you wrote this.
I was 20 years old when I wrote it. It was before I had a professional career.
You were in your 3rd year at Harvard?
I was...
I've seen you at Harvard.
I was a junior at Harvard.
Junior. So you were 3/4 of the way through your Harvard education, and you wrote that.
That is correct, Senator. It is
Wow.
20 years before I became a judge. I do
Wow.
not agree with it today. I do want to be clear about that.
Okay. Judge Simmons, let me just ask you a couple questions. You finished law school in 2004.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you ever tried a case in federal court?
I have not seen that.
Have you ever filed a brief in federal court?
I have not practiced in federal court. My entire practice has been in the state court.
Okay. Have you ever argued a motion in federal court?
I have my entire practice of over 12 years as a prosecutor has been in state court, Senator.
Okay. Have you ever, you served as a state court judge, have you ever presided over a jury trial as a state court judge?
In the 5 years that I've been on the Superior Court bench, I have been in a moving department, and now I'm the supervising judge.
Have you ever tried a jury trial?
As a attorney, I have tried.
No, as a judge.
As a judge, I have presided over court trials, not jury trials, sir.
No, so the answer is no.
I have not presided over jury trials as a judge.
Have you, in the 5 years you've been on the state bench, have you ever written any opinions, issued any opinions?
Well, sir, I've been in moving departments in the 5 years that I've been as a Superior Court judge. We don't issue written opinions in moving departments on the Superior
So the answer is no.
In the 5 years I've been on the Superior Court, I've been in moving departments. We don't issue written opinions in moving departments.
Okay. What is the standard of review in federal court for questions of fact?
For questions of fact by the trial court, it is clear error, sir.
Okay. What's the standard of review for questions of law?
In the trial court level, de novo.
Okay. What is the what's the holding in Map v. Ohio?
Map v. Ohio, since I've been practicing as a district attorney for the last 12 years, as well as a Superior Court judge over the last 5 years, I know what the holding is. It escapes me as I currently sit here, but
okay.
As a
What's the Chevron doctrine? You'll see that a lot.
Yes, Chevron deference refers to an administrative agency that's interpreted its own rule. It created a two-part step test. The first step in that test is whether Congress was clear.
You know it. I got you. What's the political question doctrine?
I have not, as a Superior Court judge, and over the last 5 years, and as a deputy district attorney for 12 years, I have not practiced in a federal court. So, if I am so fortunate enough to be confirmed, I will obviously apply the applicable law.
Okay, I want to talk about the United States Constitution. Is it a doctrine of plenary powers or enumerated powers?
Enumerated powers, sir.
Okay. I yield back 1 second.
It is home to the most powerful person in the world. It is a center of global military.
No. Okay, bros. Let me, okay.
In today's video, Republicans are trying to sabotage Pete Hegseth.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes.
I think you are right.
Also, Morning Joe calls Doge a scam.
But this is a scam, so they need to just stop pretending.
And Senator John Fetterman gives The View a reality check.
America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases.
So yesterday it was the media, and now today it is a Republican who is not committed to Pete Hegseth and is literally trying to sabotage his nomination chances. But here's the thing, he's not backing down.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared, and that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process. And that's why I was happy to sit down with Pete and have that conversation with him yesterday. So again, all I will say at this time is that we did have a very thorough discussion over a number of those issues, and the vetting will continue, I am certain, through the next month or so until we approach that hearing date.
And he has some...
Yeah, so Congresswoman Ertz is really coming off as an individual who is truly trying to sabotage this nomination. Now, multiple individuals are coming out and stating publicly it's because she truly wants to be the Secretary of Defense over Pete Hegseth. So she's willing to slow walk this. She's willing to not actually commit and be difficult in this entire situation. Now, we were just discussing last night in my previous video how Lindsey Graham was literally doing the same thing, going back and forth and flip-flopping. Both of these individuals are up for re-election in 2026, so we'll see how that plays out moving forward. However, Pete Hegseth is not going away. Here's what he had to say this morning.
So would you support the release of that?
Have you convinced Joni Ernst
you on the issue of alcohol? No, we've had great conversations about who I am and what I believe, and frankly, the man I am today, because of my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And
Absolutely,
Jenny, right here. I'm a different man than I was years ago, and that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate, and I know from fellow vets that I've spent time with, they resonate with that as well. You fight, you go do tough things in tough places on behalf of your country, and sometimes that changes you a little bit. And by the grace of God and my Lord and Savior, I had an opportunity to come on up out of it with great veterans organizations that fought for vets, that fought for reform at the VA and for war fighters, and at the Fox News Channel to advocate for those very same causes. And I'm proud of what I fought for. I'm not going to back down from them one bit. I will answer all of these senators' questions, but this will not be a process tried in the media. I don't answer to anyone in this group, none of you, not to that camera at all. I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee, and I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here, and as long as Donald Trump wants me in this fight, I'm going to be standing right here in this fight, fighting to bring our Pentagon back to what it needs to be. What have your conversations on?
Okay, and that's why Pete Hegseth has a lot of people's attention, because of that last comment right there. He's putting his foot down and saying that this entire nomination will not be tried in the media, meaning he's standing up for himself, and he's not going to let the media dictate whether or not he can even make it to the confirmation hearings, because we still have quite a bit of time until we even get there. I mean, maybe the earliest those hearings will start is the last week of January, maybe, and that's really pushing it. Usually, historically, they are in February. And speaking of the media, you know, they did release this hoax story about Ron DeSantis potentially replacing Pete Hegseth, and he did respond to that rumor. Check this out.
What do you make of the rumors that DeSantis and others might be considered?
Spoke to Trump this morning, just a few minutes ago. Supports us fully.
How are the meetings going?
Great.
How did the meeting with Ernst go?
It was constructive, candid. It was great.
Did you bring up the allegations?
Sorry, man. I apologize.
Did you bring up women in the military? Women serving in the military?
You said that you would never back down. If Trump asked you to back down,
I'm here because of Donald Trump. If he didn't want me to be here, then I wouldn't be.
Yeah, these questions are stupid, I know. It's so interesting. Imagine doing that for a living, right? I just can't see myself asking questions like that. It's just ridiculous. I think there's better questions that they could ask, but they're refusing to, of course. Now, if you are getting value from this video so far, please do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, shop the merch store, or buy us a cup of coffee. But I think Charlie Kirk put it very well. What's actually happening here with Pete Hegseth? Let's take a listen to that.
Back it up. Hold on a second. Wait, what is your objection then? That is military cabal doublespeak. And for the great patriots in Iowa, I hope you are listening carefully, because you are not being represented well by Senator Ernst. Basically, she is defending a deep state at the Department of Defense. However, hold on a second. She won't commit to vote for Pete Hegseth, but do you know who she did vote for? And she wasn't alone. Let's put 109 up on screen. This is Joni Ernst's boy. This is Joni Ernst's man right there. Boom, center stage. Lloyd Austin. Joni Ernst voted for that man.
But you won't vote for Pete Hegseth.
Walking through, I think it was the Philippines. Lloyd Austin, the secretary under Joe Biden. There's so much that we can spend on Lloyd Austin, but do you remember when he was hospitalized and his chief of staff didn't tell the president for several days?
Yep.
Of course, he also oversaw purging thousands of experienced troops to pursue a politically motivated vaccine mandate, one of which, where Joni Ernst did not fight the fact that tens of thousands of troops got kicked out of the military for not wanting to take the COVID shot. That is Joni Ernst.
This is why it's very important for Americans to be aware of what's happening in Washington, because the midterms are going to come, and if you're not really educated, these individuals will get voted into office again, when really they should be kicked out of Congress, right?
Yep.
So we need to continue to spread the truth about the hypocrisy that is really going on. Now, another individual who's skating on thin ice as it pertains to MAGA would be the Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and he had some comments about the nomination of Pete Hegseth. Let's take a listen to that as well.
Order said that Mar-a-Lago, President-elect Trump is considering the possibility of Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, to be the Secretary of Defense nominee. That would mean that Pete Hegseth would no longer be. Have you heard from any senators about that possible switch?
Well, I think, Dana, the important thing is the president is still committed to the nominees that he's put forward. There's a lot, as you know, swirl around this process. There always is conversations on side conversations that go on. But, you know, at the end of the day, these nominees need to have the opportunity to make their case. I'm meeting later today, I think it's been reported, with Pete Hegseth, as are many of my colleagues. And I think the readouts from these meetings are he's very smart, and he's got, you know, great experience, obviously, as a combat veteran. So we're going to give him the chance to make his argument, make his case. Clearly, he's going to have to answer some hard questions, which he is, based on the reports I'm getting from the meetings he's attended so far. But that is part of our process. And under advice and consent in the Constitution, our responsibility as the Senate is to give him that process and to determine, based upon the confirmation hearing and background search and things like that, their qualifications for the office.
Now, after following the story for quite some time now, I've come to the real question about this entire issue at hand as it comes to the nomination of Trump's cabinet. And what it really comes down to is, will the Senate get power hungry and choose to fight Trump on these cabinet picks? And what I mean by that is the true person that has the power in the situation is the Senate. I mean, Trump can only do so much, right? Ultimately, it's the senators who are going to confirm his cabinet. So will they get power hungry and remind Trump who really has the power, or will they finally get smart and listen to the American people and recognize the gift that Trump has delivered them in this past election? Because remember, who was the last Republican president to deliver the type of results that Trump did in this past election, with the amount of votes that he did, and how almost every single state moved all the way to the right? So clearly, the American people want America First policies. Now, here is Congresswoman Ernst's post on X. She says, "I appreciate Pete Hegseth's service to our country, something we both share. Today, as part of the confirmation process, we had a frank and thorough conversation." And so Will Cain points out a very important fact. All but 7 Republican senators voted to confirm Lloyd Austin, but have a problem with Hegseth. And he did put up another post here. These Republicans voted to confirm Mayorkas, but have questions about Hegseth. Interesting. And one more. Let me get this straight. These 14 active Republican senators voted to confirm Merrick Garland for Attorney General, but have concerns about Hegseth. Says a lot. Wow. And as you guys can see the name, here she is right here, Joni Ernst from Iowa, and Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. And then here's Will Cain kind of confirming the point I've been making throughout the video so far. I'm curious, help me understand something. How does President-elect Trump lead Republicans who over the previous decade have found new and innovative ways to lose to an overwhelming win? And the first thing they do is start denying his cabinet picks. They start handing him losses, question mark. What do you guys think about what Will Cain is saying? Put it in the comment section below. So what do you guys think about the fact that there is some level of resistance when there shouldn't be? And now it seems that Doge is finally facing real resistance. And of course, we know the media is all over it. They're trying to discredit Doge by calling it a scam, even though Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are not being paid to do any of this, by the way. But you know what their playbook is. Let's first discredit. Let's go ahead and put fear in the minds of American citizens, and let's push a lot of misinformation around it. Here is an example of that. Morning Joe having a meltdown. Watch.
But this is a scam unless they're going to slash Social Security and Medicare and and Veterans Affairs. They're never going to get to $2 trillion, so they need to just stop pretending.
You know, Joe, I feel like Vanna White. I'm just turning letters up here, and you're actually Pat Sajak telling people how it is.
He ain't Pat Sajak.
It's so disingenuous.
I'm happy to be your letter guy. But you said it exactly right, Joe. This is a completely disingenuous, unrealistic, ridiculous idea.
So Trump's done said they're not going to touch Social Security.
This is the same guy who told us that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, right? And still continue to make excuses for him after he embarrassed himself during that debate with Trump. And then secondly, this claim that Doge is a scam just truly reflects the media's disdain for programs and ideas and individuals who clearly challenge the establishment's control. That's really what's going on here.
Oh, poor Joe Scarborough. I remember when he was a conservative. You know, when he was a conservative Republican, he actually voted against expanding Medicare into Medicare Part D, this extra part to make Medicare bigger because he thought it might bankrupt the country. So there was a time when he actually was a thoughtful person, but no longer. Now, there is a sliver of a truth in the sense that, yes, entitlements are a lot of the spending, but to say entitlements are a lot of the spending, therefore we're not going to look at waste, is the excuse we hear all the time. Oh, we're not going to look at this spending because if you get rid of all waste, it won't balance the budget. Well, why don't we start by getting rid of the $750,000 that was spent feeding cocaine to Japanese quail to see if they were more sexually promiscuous on cocaine. Maybe Joe would agree with getting at least that, get rid of that.
Or maybe Joe should agree to getting rid of his show because it is a waste if we want to talk about what is going on in this country. For the record. Now, it doesn't matter what people like Joe really think because the American people know this is a real thing. And when you have the smartest man and the second smartest man running it, let's just be honest here, there's a lot that can be done. And here's Fox News talking about exactly what could get done, even if they don't get all of the support that they may need.
There is a lot of downsizing that Musk and Ramaswamy can get done, even without Congress, from having President-elect Trump use executive orders to axe regulations to gutting waste from federal spending. But when it comes to the dollars and cents that the federal government has at their fingertips to spend, that is up to Congress, and they are getting some backup from unlikely places. Senator Bernie Sanders saying Elon Musk is right. There are things that need to be chopped, and other Democrats are joining in too.
Ultimately, I just think that there's not a single American who thinks government's perfect, that, you know, there's not anything that can't be changed. So I think Democrats should embrace government efficiency.
I mean, I don't know why it's controversial to eliminate waste. I think anybody could support making our government more efficient and saving whatever money that we can.
And a big part of Musk and Ramaswamy's plan is to reduce the overall size of the federal workforce. Musk this morning mentioning a report that basically says if you don't count security guards and you don't count maintenance people, less than 1% of federal workers show up into the office in person every day, 40 hours a week. That's something they want to change, and they don't think a lot of people will stick around to show up in person to work, so they think that that would significantly reduce the number of workers off the bat.
Yeah, so nothing about this is controversial, of course. Again, like I stated, the only thing that is triggering for individuals is because clearly it challenges the control that they have. It clearly means that other people will have to be fired and programs will have to be cut. And that always is going to trigger the liberals on the left because, you know, compassion comes first before anything else, right? And to show you an example of that, listen to CNN talk about this.
And I do like to point out the sort of ironic hypocrisy of, you know, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. They like to rail against the unelected bureaucrats making these decisions. But Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy themselves are unelected, and they are going to be in this very important advisory role. But They put out, some statements about the agencies and what they plan to cut. They wrote this Wall Street Journal opinion piece. They want to cut $500 billion in annual spending. Some of the agencies and the programs they've specifically mentioned are the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. That is a very important funder to NPR, to National Public Radio. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was created in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, international organizations, progressive groups like Planned Parenthood, and there's elements of plenty of other agencies that they plan to cut. I've talked to people in the Department of Labor, EPA, all of them are girding themselves essentially for what they expect to be massive cuts. Now, there is a question because you can't just cut agencies because they are created by acts of Congress, so you would need Congress in order to cut these agencies as well.
Well, I didn't hear anything that was really a concern. In fact, I'm encouraged by the list that they put up here. Let's take a look. Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Yes, we should definitely cut that. Why do we need PBS, who clearly pushes propaganda 24/7? Yeah, let's get rid of them. Now, the last bullet point, which I really am attracted to, progressive groups like Planned Parenthood. Yeah, we need to cut them too, okay? Because if any department or agency or program who's really been responsible for the murdering of millions of babies in our country, Planned Parenthood would be at the top of the list, right? So yeah, let's get rid of them. So clearly CNN is more worried about who's going to be fired instead of worrying about cutting the deficit and obviously reducing the size of government, which is far more important. That's just the reality that we're facing in our country today. But here is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, commenting on exactly what he wants to do day one.
We take over in January, and until then, the big government Democrats are still in charge, and they're spending money, in our view, recklessly. And so, yes, we've had a lot of discussions over the last couple of days about what our authority would be to claw some of that back and to stop it. It's a serious challenge, and we need to stop it and expose what's happening. That's what this effort will be about going forward. There is an enormous amount of waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, and I think everyone knows that intuitively. And so the efforts here, both with our subcommittees that are being created here and with the DOJ effort itself, will be to explore that, to investigate it, and lay it bare for the American people to see. I think that's how we'll begin to bring about the change that we all need. So this is an ongoing effort. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, some labor unions are already fighting back. They've already signed contracts to try and get this, that they could be able to work from home, things like that. Your reaction to that?
Well, there was a report that came out today. I don't know if you all have seen it, but someone did a little survey of how many federal employees are actually working in the office. By one estimate, it may be about 1% if you don't count the security personnel that are covering these buildings. That is absurd, and it's not something the American people will stand for. And so one of the first things that I think you'll see is a demand from the new administration, from all of us in Congress, that federal workers return to their desks and get back to the work that they're supposed to be doing. I think that is common sense.
Okay, so only 1% of federal employees are actually in the office. So clearly that's a red flag, right?
Yeah.
And guys, in case you're not aware of what the true process is, so it's on Congress to change the law in order to get these employees to go back to work in person, okay? The only reason why they're at home is because the laws that they are governed by have been passed by Congress. So it's on Mike Johnson actually to fix that problem. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk can't really do anything about it. Now the problem with people who are criticizing Doge is that they really don't understand the power behind it and truly the purpose that it serves. And here is Larry Kudlow on Fox News summing it up very nicely on what this truly is all about.
Most everybody seems to be in favor of the work of Doge, even though a lot of people don't really understand what Doge is trying to do. For example, many elected officials are saying how wonderful it is that we have a commission that will get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, reduce government costs, and cut the budget deficit. All right, that's true to some extent. But I think the real purpose of Doge is a vast undertaking to stop the unelected regulatory state that has been misgoverning America for far too long. As Steve Forbes put it, and Steve said this, I don't know, 3 years ago, socialist-type central planning in the modern age operates through the hundreds of elected bureaucrats who exercise their vast power over the economy through over 220 regulatory agencies.
Hey, we're about to
220 for regulatory state.
Now, this isn't the first time someone had attempted to do something of this nature. The only difference is public opinion now is involved, meaning a lot of Americans are watching this. They are aware of Doge being a real thing. And you've got the smartest guy in the country, technically, with Elon Musk, and maybe the second smartest with Vivek Ramaswamy leading it up.
They're both very
and with the
intelligent.
support
That's a fact.
of President-elect Trump. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So let's just see what actually happens. And if they can even do half of what they said, that would be a true game changer for our country and Washington, of course. Now, Laura Trump had some interesting things to add to this conversation. Let's listen to that now.
If there's anyone who can take a situation like reducing our federal government, paring it back, and actually doing the right thing here, I believe it's Donald Trump. And I do think people are so excited about this. Look, over the past several years, our country has watched as our money has gone overseas to fight wars that, you know, we don't even involve ourselves in and don't want to be involved in. Watched as we've spent, Elon himself said the other day, $150 billion a year on illegal immigrants who have come here to this country. This is something that people are desperate to see happen, and I actually believe this is the time. If things happen in the way that I think so many of us are hopeful to see happen, I believe we are upon the most transformational period in our country's history, basically since our inception. Donald Trump calls it the golden age of America, but it starts with Doge. It starts with giving the taxpayers, you know, more for their money and not wasteful spending, not the fraud, not the abuse. I actually believe we're going to see some incredible things happen.
Okay, so as you guys know, every president has one policy move that they make that leads to their legacy, right? If you think about former President Obama, he had Obamacare. That was a huge thing for him, right? Trump, in his first administration, was the Trump tax cuts. So in this administration, I truly believe it has to do with Doge, because it's the single thing that truly will prove that he actually did exactly what the American people wanted him to do, which is clean up Washington. Now, the fallout from Joe Biden issuing a pardon to his son Hunter is continuing to take place. Every single day, people are coming on to The View and giving the ladies on that show a reality check. I don't think they brought anyone on so far who agrees that this pardon was a great idea. And yes, you can mark Senator John Fetterman as the next person who had a different take about this pardon.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now is that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right?
So once again, you're seeing an example why it's so hard for them to criticize the Democratic Party, and the easiest thing for them to do is to blame Trump all over again, right? And that's why they always go to January 6th. And because, again, we all know the full story was not actually reported about January 6th, still isn't being reported about it. And this is just the easiest thing for them to do.
That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like, now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
It's just fascinating the math they try to do in their head, okay? So how can you say that Hunter Biden was a victim of the Department of Justice being weaponized against him, but you can't say the same thing for Trump, right? Again, American people aren't going to buy that type of argument. We know that. Hunter Biden clearly broke the law. There's no question about it. And by the way, he's one of the few pardons that actually never even served any prison time, but still got the pardon. So there's that. So it leads us to the question, and I asked you guys this last night. With Joe Biden issuing preemptive pardons, is that him truly protecting justice or throwing accountability in the trash? Now, I know what the answer is. It's throwing accountability in the trash. Now, one of these individuals who happen to be scared that Trump will prosecute them is Olivia Troy, and here she is on CNN expressing her fears. Check it out.
Do you think preemptive pardons are necessary for people like yourself, other folks that Dr. Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff, Liz Cheney, I mean, that could be targeted by a Kash Patel-led FBI?
I mean, it's certainly something to consider. I guess my question is, I have not done anything wrong. I know that. And I know that many of us who have just spoken the truth, all we're doing is speaking the truth. But in today's environment, in terms of what's to come under the Trump administration, I think that's something that we're all thinking about and wondering what's to come. And I think I am a prime example of what's to come when I've already gotten a threatening letter by someone like Kash Patel, who we know is a loyalist and a henchman for Donald Trump.
All right.
Now let's understand who Olivia is. She worked for Mike Pence. And I guess we could stop it right there, right? So we know what her mindset is. She's a never Trumper, of course. And she's going to over-exaggerate everything. So I'm not buying the idea that she feels threatened and she's scared that she's going to be prosecuted. And I just find it interesting. I said this last night. I mean, think about it. So now all these individuals get these preemptive pardons, even though they haven't even committed a crime, according to them. And they're not even being prosecuted yet, and they're not even being investigated yet. So tell me how that works constitutionally, right? But this is what they're calling for. So, I mean, if you were truly innocent, why would you be asking for a pardon? I just don't understand it. Now, I think I do have an idea why she should be scared, because I know she's part of the corruption. That's just my own personal belief. Because listen to her describe Kash Patel.
I worked with Kash in the White House. I was Vice President Mike Pence's counterterrorism advisor. So I had to coordinate with Kash a lot. Kash Patel is a delusional liar. Let me just be very clear about that. And he would lie about intelligence. He would lie about making things up on operations. I think, there is a little bit of fear here from people where they know that someone like Kash Patel is fully capable of just doing partisan investigations, whatever it takes. It will be insane if he becomes the director of the FBI, and I fear for the law enforcement personnel there who are going to have to navigate this. And quite honestly, when I look at Kash Patel in combination with what is Pam Bondi going to do if she gets in as AG, is that top cover for him? I mean, these are all the things that concern me when I see all of these names being proposed for all of these different positions, because this is a very real risk and to the detriment of Americans, to be clear.
So doesn't that rhetoric sound familiar, right? The extreme fear-mongering language that they want the American people to believe in. So I'm not buying that. Now, this next story, which I think you will buy, is that Kamala Harris has made another appearance publicly. Yeah, I know. And she doesn't look any better than she did right before Thanksgiving when she looked intoxicated.
I knew y'all were in town. I couldn't let it go without coming by to say hello and to say thank you to everyone here, all of these extraordinary leaders. I wanted to come by and say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, whatever you may celebrate. But most important, let's make sure we celebrate each other.
And what's interesting, on the same day that this clip was posted, the host of Call Her Daddy podcast came out and had some harsh words about the Kamala Harris campaign and how much money they spent.
There's a little bit of controversy about that podcast because you didn't.
Oh.
Do you know about this?
No, what?
Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C.
Yeah.
In a hotel.
Yeah, not in a hotel. It was like a random house.
It was like random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, meaning the Harris campaign spent like $100,000.
I did see that.
You know about this?
It's hilarious.
To build the studio.
Yeah, that's not true.
Not true.
Straight to a Fox News alert. The manhunt for the gunman who shot and killed the United Healthcare CEO now stretches into its third day. We're taking a look at the newest evidence as we learn how the suspect got to New York City in the first place.
Also breaking over.
Mission is full steam ahead. The president-elect found some time to accept the Ultimate Patriot Award and give a rousing address at last night's Fox Nation Patriot Awards.
We're going to do something that I've been talking about for 8 years. We're going to do it again, and we have to do it again. And that's, we're going to make America great again.
We know that guy. We were just there, sitting in the front row. Good morning, Todd. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Friday morning. I'm Carly Shimkin. It was a great night.
And I'm Todd Pyro. Apparently, those are our given names. Our real names today are Barry White, and this is Fox Friends First, Last, and Everything. We both lost our voices. We're going to try to get through this. It was a great night. We're going to have a lot more on it. Throughout the course.
Who needs to speak when you're on TV?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to get through that throughout the course of the morning. But first, we do have some real serious news to get to. We're going to start with Chanley Painter with the latest on the search for the healthcare CEO killer. Chanley.
Hey, good morning. So the police appear to be closing in on the identity of the man suspected of gunning down 50-year-old Brian Thompson Wednesday morning outside a New York City hotel. Fox News Digital obtaining this surveillance video from a deli near the scene of the murder, capturing the suspected gunman walking towards the Midtown Hilton less than an hour before the targeted shooting. Police sources now revealing the suspect arrived in the city more than a week ago on a Greyhound bus from Atlanta before checking into a hostel in the Upper West Side using a fake ID, paying in cash. These photos were taken at that hostel, the first images to show the alleged masked assassin's face. Smiling. Reportedly in a moment, he pulled his face covering down to flirt with the hostel clerk. Police sources saying he shared a room there with at least 2 other men.
What I heard is that he stayed on the 407, like really next to the bathroom, like right next to mine. That's, I'm used to violence because I'm from Rio de Janeiro. There's a lot there, but like not the kind of like cold and meticulous and professional killing.
Police sources also revealing to Fox they have a cell phone they believed was dropped by the suspect near the scene with fingerprints and a water bottle purchased by the suspect at a nearby Starbucks that is being used to build a DNA profile. And while a motive is still not clear, as we reported yesterday, the suspect left behind possible clues in the words deny, depose, and defend written on those shell casings and live rounds there at the scene, possibly a message to the murdered CEO of one of the largest healthcare companies in the world, guys.
All right, Chanley Painter live for us. Chanley, thank you so much. Let's bring in Philip Klein. Philip's security firm provided bodyguard service for Brian Thompson. And Philip, you knew him personally and say he was a very nice guy. So tell us what stands out to you the most about this shocking situation.
Well, what stands out most to me is the inability to provide him security in New York City while he's going to give a speech to many mad stockholders and possibly mad clients of the healthcare company. We are still trying to figure out, and it'll come out one day, did he deny security and say, look, I don't want security around me? Because he does run one of the, if not the biggest healthcare industry in the world. Or secondarily, does the healthcare company not provide him security? Whatever it is, in my 41 years as being a personal protection officer, I've never seen a security football this big in our industry.
That is fascinating because I think that was a question so many of us are wondering. You're looking at the video on the screen. There's nobody attached to him. There's nobody near him. He is alone. And you think at 6:48, New York City in the morning, you might have somebody if you are that big of an executive. Speaking on the executive front, you mentioned this is your business. You've been doing this for decades. How common is it for executives like this to receive threats on a day in and day out basis?
I don't know of one top 20 company that does not have private security or personal security inside their house. And what I mean by house is inside their company. That does not have agents that either escort their principal or their CEO from point A to point B or travel with them or go wherever they go. I don't know of one top 20 company that does not have personal security for their CEOs. This is, like I say, this is completely unusual.
Well, and to be clear, they have that security because they are receiving threats, Philip?
Absolutely, yeah. You get threats, you know, especially in today's world. If you look at the anger of the American people, let's say in the food service industry. My phone rang off the wall yesterday with people in the food service industry. Right. Their CEOs are getting death threats. My eggs cost too much. My milk costs too much. I go to your grocery store, it costs too much. These guys are getting threats every day now. Yeah. Every day of the week, and so they're getting personal security.
Angry, evil world up there. Yeah, we're running out of time, but I just want to, Philip, real quick. So we know what the gunman looks like. And there are reports that he may have dropped a cell phone, a water bottle. We appear to know how he got to New York City and where he stayed. It doesn't seem like this guy is any sort of real mastermind, given the clues that he's leaving police. So when do you think police will be able to get a positive idea?
I'd say you're not a real mastermind, but
I think they probably already have
I think they're trying to downplay him because cleared that gun easy, man.
Obviously, if he's
know what you done when you cleared a gun that easy.
As well as his actions with the gun itself, the suppressor, the baffler, how it's stovepiped on him. I just don't see him as
go ahead,
so that makes him a little bit more.
Go ahead, eat, girl, eat.
Police do catch up to him. I wouldn't be surprised if it got into a gun battle or a suicide.
And lastly, real quick, Phil, because like I said, we are running out of time, but we mentioned that you knew him. You provided personal security for him. So just quickly tell us what he was like.
Yeah, I was his detail leader, and let me tell you guys something. When you met the guy, and I met him at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, and my team did, I can tell you there's not one member of our team that didn't look at each other after it was over and say, that guy's going somewhere. He was nice to us, shook our hands, told us to be careful of all things, and he was just a great guy.
Absolute tragedy.
Philip Klein, thank you for your insight on the man, the crime, and where we go from here. Turning to a Fox News alert overnight, President Trump bolstering his foreign policy and immigration agenda with brand new cabinet picks.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with all the details. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, good morning, Carly and Todd. President-elect Trump's new picks to help tackle his immigration agenda are long-term officials. He named Rodney Scott as Customs and Border Protection Commissioner and Caleb Vitello as Acting Director of ICE. Scott served roughly 3 decades for Border Patrol. He ran the agency until 2021 when the Biden administration ousted him. Trump, meantime, notes Vitello has more than 23 years of service to ICE. He currently serves as the Assistant Director of the Office of Firearms and Tactical Programs.
They've allowed 21 million people into our country coming through open borders from many, many countries. They came from jails, they came from mental institutions, insane asylums even, and we're going to have to get them out.
Trump also tapped former Georgia Senator David Perdue to be his ambassador to China and David Sachs as his White House AI and crypto czar. Sachs was a former executive at PayPal where he worked with Elon Musk. As Trump rolls out new nominees and appointments, his choice for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is promising to fight on after facing allegations of financial mismanagement, sexual impropriety, and reports of intoxicated behavior. He has denied the accusations.
I'm a different man than I was years ago. And that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate. And I know from fellow vets that I've spent time with, they resonate with that as well. You fight, you go do tough things in tough places on behalf of your country. And sometimes that changes you a little bit.
Hegseth has been meeting lawmakers all week on Capitol Hill. He maintains he has the president-elect's support. Carly and Todd.
All right, Madeline Rivera live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you. Now some good news. President Trump accepting the Patriot of the Year award at the Fox Nation Patriot Awards last night. He was live in the flesh.
Right now, we're not so proud of our country. We're going to be very proud of our country again. It's going to be better than ever before. It's going to be more successful than ever before. We're going to be more respected throughout the world than ever before.
As you might imagine, he got a pretty big hand, but we also honored everyday heroes that don't get the recognition they deserve, like NYPD officer Jonathan Dillard, who was shot and killed by a career criminal in March. his wife Stephanie accepting the Tunnel to Towers Stephen Siller.
Okay, we need what on that one?
His behalf.
One thing that I hope is that Jonathan's story resonates with people and that they realize that, police officers are people. Their mothers, their fathers, their sons, daughters, brothers. And they go out there and they risk their lives for our communities. And I want people to remember that.
And Deacon Clarence McAllister from Pennsylvania received the award for bravery for leaping into action to stop a gunman who pointed a loaded gun at his pastor during a Sunday service back in May.
Also, remember those UNC Chapel Hill students, Guillermo Estrada and Alex Jones? Well, you remember they defended our American flag earlier this year as anti-Israel protesters and anti-American protesters tried to tear it down and replace it with the Palestinian flag. Well, they were honored with the award for courage.
And high school senior Cameron Blasek also defended Old Glory by standing his ground when his school tried to make him remove the American flag from his truck. He received the Young Patriot Award. I loved last night, Todd, and I loved all the recipients of these great awards. And I was really struck by Cameron Blasek and Sophie Diller in particular because their speeches were so good. And I looked behind me because that's where the big teleprompter is. And I was like, they must be reading a script. It was blank. And they're not public speakers. They didn't sign up for this. By one through brave actions, by one through tragedy, they were put in the spotlight and received these awards. And they did a phenomenal job in that moment where all eyes were on them. And it was just really cool to watch in person.
It was a remarkable night on Fox Nation, streaming there. I also believe we're going to air it again on Sunday night here on the channel. Janice is going to join us a little bit later on in the program to talk about the award that she participated in giving.
Yes.
Just say it involved puppies.
Oh, it was so cool.
It's pretty cool. Stick around for that. Speaking of defending the flag, residents in a New Jersey town are planning to protest a rule that stops them from having the American flag at town. A civil lawsuit by the father of Jordan Neely, the homeless man who died after being placed in a chokehold by Penny on a New York City subway. Neely's father is seeking damages exceeding the jurisdictional limits of lower courts. It all comes as the Marine veteran awaits a verdict in his criminal trial as the jury enters its fourth day of deliberations this morning. Penny, criminally negligent homicide, faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted. A lot of experts are expecting the old Friday afternoon verdict right before the weekend. We will see. Carly, over to you.
A dramatic scene unfolding in one New Jersey town as the township council is being accused of attempting to ban the American flag from public town meetings. That council now appears to be walking that back, but some residents are infuriated.
I'm holding up an American flag to represent the constitutional values.
I'm going to give you a warning, and if you continue, I will have to forfeit you. I'm going to have to warn you that those are props, and those are against. So if you continue
holding this, it's my expression of freedom of speech. First Amendment.
Well, you just heard from Russell Azzarello, who is an Edison Township president, and he joins me now. Russell, good morning to you.
Good morning, Carly.
What happened here?
Well, we had a council meeting that the council wanted to, they drew up two ordinances. One is to limit public speaking from 6 minutes down to 4. So basically, they're acknowledging our First Amendment freedom of speech, but they want to limit it. They want to limit the questions, the concerns, the anger about many issues with Edison being the 6th largest municipality in the state of New Jersey. There's a lot of things happening, and people are concerned, and people have problems, people have questions. People should feel free and comfortable to go to a town hall meeting and voice their opinions.
And you say they also banned the American flag. Why would anybody want to do that at a council meeting?
The Second Amendment, they don't. They want to ban holding the United States flag and the U.S. Constitution. They don't want you to hold it. They as you're at the podium speaking for 6 minutes. They consider that the U.S. flag and the Constitution to be props. And a lot of the citizens, Edison residents, are very pissed. They're very unhappy. Excuse my language. They're very unhappy, and it angered a lot of people.
Well, they have a right to be all of those things. Calling the American flag and the Constitution a prop is disrespectful. But even if it was one, why do you ban it?
Well, I said that at the meeting.
That's right.
I can't comprehend how the U.S. flag or the Constitution could offend anyone. Well, if you're offended by this flag or the United States Constitution, maybe you're living in the wrong country.
Well, I want you to respond to this because the council president told Fox News Digital, quote, "Let me be very clear, the Edison Council
I don't feel bad,
will
girl.
ever ban the American flag from our public
I
meetings.
feel okay.
If any of my remarks during the previous council
Promise.
meetings implied
I'm
that,
feeling okay.
I apologize." What's your reaction to that?
Why did they follow through with this?
I'll
There
go.
was no confusion. There's no confusion on their end. This was ill intent from the get-go. They had all the intentions to. This is about control. They want to control the time of the time limit of public speaking, and they want to, control the Edison residents when they go up to the podium. Right. There was no confusion. These amendments need to be rescinded. They need to be. They allowed this to go through to be brought up in a council meeting. This now has to be retracted. This has. If this is allowed in Edison, another town's going to do it. We should be progressing. We should be proud to live in America, not digress and want to ban the flag, the United States flag.
Can you believe that?
I can't believe it.
I know. And Edison is a left-leaning town, but this issue transcends politics, which is why I'm sure that council president walked it back. Russell, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking out. Thank you for bringing those American flags. They call them props. I call it the Great American Flag.
Let's show our patriotism.
And I will accept this flag from you happily, Russell.
Thank you very much, Carl.
Azzarello, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having an interest in Edison Township. Appreciate it.
We certainly do.
Thank you very much.
Todd, over to you.
Staying in the state of our birth, Carly, mysterious drones have been flying over New Jersey for the past month and have been seen hovering over critical infrastructure as well as Trump's Bedminster golf course, where he sometimes lives and resides. We're going to ask a former FBI official how concerned Americans should be. Getting those mysterious drones flying around New Jersey over the past month. They've been spotted hovering over military facilities, water reservoirs, and even at Trump's Bedminster golf course. But Governor Phil Murphy says there is no known threat to the public. Chris Swecker is a former assistant FBI director, and he joins me now. Chris, how has this been allowed to go on for the better part of a month, especially within that month? Donald Trump won an election. He has a property there at Bedminster, and these drones are apparently flying over that. That seems like a huge violation of everything that the Secret Service says it wants to change. So how is this still allowed to go on?
Yeah, it certainly does. It's perplexing, and I don't understand why. I mean, citizens have been reporting this for quite a while, since November 22nd. So I just hope that the FBI, which is probably the lead agency in this, has actually been working this for quite a while. But that wouldn't explain why the drones just keep on coming. Secret Service, there's an issue there, of course, with the golf course. Whether Trump is there at the time the drones were there would be a significant issue. But I think it's mainly a counterintelligence issue that needs to be resolved. First and foremost, there's an arsenal there, a military arsenal there, where a considerable amount of research takes place on small arms and explosives. It's a very important facility, Army facility, and we know how aggressive the Chinese have been over the last few years with the balloons. So I'm interested in hearing more about these drones and why they're not doing something to stop it.
I believe I asked you this question